Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to speak about worship culture and how we can create it in our worship teams as worship leaders and as volunteers. So why is worship culture so important in worship teams? Well, let's start by saying culture creates culture. If you succeed in creating a culture in your worship team, that culture actually gets transferred over to new band members that join your team. So if you put in the work now, it's going to save you a lot of time and effort in the future. So how do we establish culture in our teams? First of all, what is God calling you to establish in your team? I find it's much easier to establish a culture when first of all it is backed by the Word of God, and second of all, you have the needed encouragement and motivation to establish that culture because you know God has called you to do so. Communicate your goal. A lot of times we get frustrated because people don't come to our idea of a table when they don't really have an idea in what room we're sitting. It is our responsibility as leaders to communicate our vision over and over and over again. When we communicate clearly what our goals are and our expectation is, then people will come to that table. Thirdly, lead by example. I've been leading worship for more than 11 years now, which goes without saying that I started at a really young age. In this time, I had to do with people that are 1, much older than I am, 2, much more experienced than I am, and 3, much better musicians than I am. I learned that people don't listen to what you say, but they listen to what you do. So let's say you want to establish a culture of coming prepared to band practices. You need to come prepared to start off. And above that, a bonus is to actually know the parts of every band member in your team. So I don't mean knowing it note by note, but having a good idea of what it should sound like and what every musician should play goes a really long way in establishing a value and a culture in your team. And finally, keep going. There's a saying in the fitness industry that says it probably took you some time to gain that weight, so it's probably going to take you some time to lose that weight as well. When you come into a worship team, there is a culture that has already been established. It took some time for that culture to be established, so it's probably going to take some time for you to change that culture. But keep your chin up, communicate your vision, and remind yourself why God is calling you to establish this new culture in your team. And then pretty soon you'll find that people come alongside you because your dream just became their dream as well. As you continue this journey, remember it is a tough one, but it is totally worth it. God equips the called, and you are in your position because God called you to be there. So keep going and be strong and courageous.